everybody. This is Tiffany.
What's up? This is Ariel.
And this is episode 22 of Grab Your Cup podcast.
What up? Ew.
So, y'all listen. Because I try to be transparent with y'all. So, yesterday, the better parts of myself were tested.
Every day.
Every day, you're right. But me and my lovely fiance, we had a not so nice discussion, because that happens, because I know y'all like to think that if you put pictures up on the gram and stuff that people ain't human and like have real life and all of that, but it happens anyway. So
Because I got something completely different to say than what you said.
But, so I reach out to Ariel in the midst of me venting and just, getting loved on with words, because that's what she do. I had a moment where I don't know how many people experience that moment when you're like, you see your growth. Like, ooh, a mini moon ago.
I would find no humor in this. Nothing would be funny right now. And I don't want to talk.
Right. When I tell you how much I didn't have it for the conflict, like, me and her had this whole discussion where I was literally like, what else could I be doing instead of this?
Hey, and we literally started naming stuff off. I was like, well, you could be drinking tea.
I was like, ooh, yeah. We started talking about the tea options. I was like, and you know what, tea, while watching, I was like, I saw the last episode of that Dear White People, but I think I need to go back and review it. That's a good idea. I could be doing anything but having this conflict with you right now. I don't want to do it.
Look, and I was like, I feel like these are great options.
Listen.
I feel like they're great options.
Right, she was like, well, I'm going to pray on it.
That's right. I said, I'm just going to pray on it.
And I was like,
I don't know what you going to do.
I said, you know what? I'm going to see how the energy feels. And I got a plan either way.
If the energy feels like this, I'm going to say, no.
Tea it is.
Tea it is. Dear white people, here I come. And if the energy is, it's shaky, but I can do it. I'm going to be like, all right.
It worked out. We worked it out. However, I still was thinking about that tea.
I know. Howsomever. That definitely was on the list.
Right.
So, then you was thinking how you ain't got time for conflict.
Right.
And all I was thinking was, I want to have so many conversations. Y'all, I had a conversation last night and I was just like, I got so many questions. I literally don't got the energy for uncertainty, for confusion, for nothing. I don't have energy for nothing. I was trying to think of other words, and I had like 50 in my head, and I was like, "Yep, all of them." I don't got the energy.
And I was like, "Oh, that's a nice word," because in my head I had trash, mess, I was
thinking confusion would just be
sum it up. Yeah, it was, and you have a way with words.
I try these days, because normally they were way more colorful. And you remember on The Color Purple when she brought that food up there and she said, I just step back and see what colors ended up on the wall.
Yeah.
That was my conversation.
Yeah.
Just step back and see what colors is going to end up on the wall.
I can say this. I've done a lot better, and I've noticed it, that when upset, I have to work on yelling. It's not often. It takes a lot longer to get there now. But
I feel like that's a huge thing.
Y'all know that's huge for me. No, that's huge for me, because it's a real thin rope of like trying, snap. Like, it doesn't. I have a lot more tools to troubleshoot before we get to yelling. But I don't, my words aren't colorful as they
Used to be?
Yeah, and I'm proud of myself for that.
I'm proud of you too.
Cause I don't want that energy back, and so yeah,
You just want to leave it where it's at, and I understand. Leave it
I
on
want
the floor.
tea.
Leave it
I want tea.
Listen, let me get a passion fruit, a pear.
And I think I'm gonna bookmark this moment and moving forward, even when I'm finding myself highlight. Could you be drinking tea right now?
Yep.
That's probably what you should do.
What you should do is
Put
get
a
a
can.
cup.
Table this.
Go get some tea.
Yep.
Go sit down and cross your legs. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it. My job tested me. I literally wanted to run in there and jump on a desk that somebody was sitting at and kick a hole in their computer. But let me tell you what I did.
What'd you do?
Nothing. Let me tell you. I didn't even cuss him out. And I didn't throw no words up against the wall to see what colors came out. Y'all don't understand how monumental this is. Like, people test my gangster all the time. And I want y'all to know that I am a thug.
She ain't lying.
I am.
I'm a thug associate.
Yeah. Like, I'm literally that person that'll say, so what you want to do? Like, I'm that girl, right? And I'm not saying it like I'm bragging, which is not what I'm doing. I am informing you of the growth.
Right.
Because...
And I'm the one that's like with her and the crew, like, if this what it's about to be.
Then it's what it's about to be. Like, I'm the one in front looking around going, but who you talking to? No, but who?
And at that point, I know I gotta make sure my shoes tied. Like,
listen, I done walked up to the conversation,
right,
putting my hair in a ponytail. Like, ayo, I don't want to be called slipping. That's who I was. And let's just be clear, she's still there.
I'm about to say,
she eating a cookie.
Right.
She might have a taco on her plate too. She's occupied right now, is what I'm saying. But
let's be clear,
she's a resident. Okay, and sometimes I knock on her door and be like, hey, you busy? She be like, nope. Let me holler at you real quick. Bet. And she come out and then, be some furniture moving. But as of the last couple years, I have kept her in her room where she belongs.
Well, here's the thing. You recognize that she didn't need to be in the position she was.
Correct. She had way more authority than she should have.
Right.
She was running a lot of things.
So now you guys have had a conversation.
Yes.
And now, she's tamed. She doesn't run free and wild,
She used to knuck if you buck.
Right, but still very necessary. It's necessary to be around. Very necessary.
Side note, I saw a shirt that said, I worship God, but I will knuck if you buck.
That's awesome.
Definitely bought that. Y'all will see it when we go on camera because I have a whole bunch of shirts that say stuff like that. Don't you worry. I got one that says, you can do all things through Christ except play with me. I got another one that says, what does it say? It says, goon and glitter. I have a couple colorful shirts. I just like to not false advertise.
I agree.
So I just like to introduce people. Let me introduce myself. My
Right.
name is but just like you saw your growth, I definitely saw my growth, and I was like, girl, you out here doing it. Because here's the thing, you can't create a habit until you have to do the thing.
Right.
So a lot of people, it's kind of like when you abstain, right? And people say it's not abstaining if you don't have options. If you're not having sex because don't nobody want to have sex with you,
you are not abstinent.
You are not abstinent. You are dry. There's a difference. If you out here and they throwing it at you, they trying to get you to throw it in a circle, and you over here like, nah, you curving people like, what the, you throwing it, and then you like, huh, this is a rough week. You're abstaining. If ain't nobody checking for you,
if the cucumbers are not even in stock at the store,
wait, let me see. Nope.
That's not abstinent.
That's not abstinent. Okay, just so you know. Message. So it's not a habit. It's not a part of you. It's not something that you have, taken on until you have to actually do it. And that's why they say you have to do something over 30 times to create it as a habit. Right. Because if you don't, then it's just hasn't come up to you, and you're just telling people how you think you're going to respond to something, not how you actually do respond to things.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can't say, nah, last time that happened, I did X, Y, and Z,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know if that's what you're going to do if something
Right.
comes up.
Right.
So don't go over here throwing around praise dances or something that you ain't never had to do.
Right.
Okay? So I just want to applaud both of us
Yes.
for the growth. Because if you don't clap for yourself, nobody is going to clap for you.
Talk
You
about it.
definitely got to clap for yourself. I definitely saw a meme today that said, sis, he don't care about
Oh,
that.
I saw it. I loved it. Oh, that was dope.
It said, sis, he don't care about you. And this post,
He not
create
reading
your
it.
business plan.
He not
He
reading
not
that-
checking this.
He not reading that post.
He
girl.
not reading that post.
All these subliminals. Stop
All these
it.
memes that you done posted, he don't care about none of that.
You know how bad my feelings would be hurt if I wanted my fiance, if I wanted to get his attention through a subliminal, my feelings would be hurt.
Let me tell you something.
Because he gonna read it
And then keep scrolling.
and do nothing. Okay? He not gonna even talk to me about it. He not gonna act like it was there. He's really not going to do. And then if I want to bring it up, he's gonna clown me. Like,
He's gonna be like,
that's what you want. You want to talk about your foolishness
on
over there?
social media, huh? Hey, I one time had it out with one of my exes because of that. So, if you're new, sometimes I stay on trash. I'm a better person now, as we have researched. But be it my past.
Right. Be it my
The old me was on trash. So let me tell you what I did. Pull up a chair. So I was in my feelings.
Uh-huh.
Feelings are fickle.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a post about people not caring about you or something like that. And he definitely called me out and was like, was that about me? And I was like, it's a general post. He was like this was texting though, but I can visualize him looking at the phone going, this heifer.
Mm-hmm.
And was like, so it's just a coincidence that we were just talking about this and then you made this post and it's not about me. I was like, well, I mean, yeah, it could be about you. It could be about anybody. Don't do that.
Right.
This me. So then I got bad. I got tough. And I was like, yeah, it was about you. He was like, but I thought we said we weren't going to go on social media
Right.
with stuff. This is me. Well, when I made the post, it was just a general post. But now that you bringing it to my attention, it was a post. It could be a post about you. So yeah, it's the post about you. And he was like, what? Listen, I could hear myself, but I had already committed.
Oh, you're crazy.
So I'm going to ride with what I'm saying. All
so she ain't had no cookies and tacos then, huh?
Let me tell you, she was on the front porch holding a bat in her lap. And she was like,
hey,
sup, fam?
You don't even drink. She had a wine cooler.
She definitely did. And I believe I had tobacco in my pocket. I was rolling my own cigarettes.
Right.
Like she was on trash.
Ready.
She was ready. I had like a bat in my lap. I was sitting B-boy style. I was ready for the conflict. Look, and then the conflict came and I was like, well, this was unnecessary.
Well,
I'm like,
the bat was just here on the
this
porch.
was a prop, and you took it seriously. I was only performing.
Withdraw.
Yo, side note, I don't do that anymore. I keep myself. Let me tell you something. If you go to my Facebook page trying to figure out what's going on in my life, you're gonna be confused because I am gonna put stuff about love, and then I'm gonna put stuff about hate, and then I'm gonna put funny stuff, and I'm gonna put stuff about finance, and then I'm gonna post a bunch of songs, and then I'm gonna go to sleep. Hey, the other day I made a post and it went viral.
Oh yes. Thank you for remembering that, child.
It just made me think about that.
Oh,
I went viral, y'all.
She went viral.
Now, let me just be clear. It's not my screenshot. I took a screenshot, put it on my page, and it literally went viral on my page about a bride having a conversation with her bridesmaid.
So if you've seen this and you're listening, you know she didn't make this post. But when I saw that she went viral, it reiterated how much I don't like people the way I don't.
I literally was tickled. I was like, y'all funny. But they got the right one. Because had I had been the Nuck If You Buck.
Uh-huh.
I'd have had energy for every
comment. I know you would have. Oh, I know you would have.
But
so
so y'all know, I did.
So listen,
I did block 2 girls though.
She tells me, hey, yeah. So that post I made, she didn't use the word viral. She just said people been commenting and sharing on my post. So it's been a lot of people in there. I'm like, since y'all paying attention, I put stuff about the podcast up. I was like, makes sense, smart. I didn't see it. I saw it when you posted it originally.
Yes.
So I was like,
but it was 3 people on there.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
In one day.
Then, like a couple hours after talking to her, I'm just casually scrolling and it's like 459 comments shared, 1 point some K time. And I was like, wait. Wait. And then I scrolled down and I called her like, oh, this is a thing. Like you went viral. Like
and I was like, I guess I did.
Oh, that's a thing. Oh, okay.
My page was I got 900 friend requests. I got all these people watching my stories.
Just mad at her.
They was like, this is fake and blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
because I hate that people use the word clout. Oh, it's just some words that people hold on to that I like, give it back. Because it's just,
you just running it into the ground.
But you want clout. I saw somebody say, you looking for clout. Clout from what? What is wrong with you?
Here's the thing. If I was selling t-shirts with this on it, you'd probably be right. But since I wasn't, this is social media, boo.
Those 900 friend requests added not $1. Not one monetary
nothing. Like, I didn't get a phone call from TMZ.
No.
FYI. I did not. B. Simone wasn't talking about, girl, let me flew you out.
Like,
right. I said flew you out. You heard what I said.
Yeah.
Like, none of that happened, y'all. None of that. No. Like, literally, it was just, and guess what? Today, nobody's thinking about it.
No.
It's over.
It's over.
Simmer down, gent. Simmer down. But that was funny.
It was a couple feisty females that I was like, ooh,
hey, and if you're a new listener, because you saw me posting all my stuff about my podcast and you wanted to say hello, what to do, boo? Welcome.
Like,
it was so funny. They were talking trash. Let me tell you what I didn't like, though. Like, you could talk about me. A couple people I did respond to, and I tried to clarify for them. I was like, no. Here's the original post. This isn't my post. I went back and screenshot the entire post that I had got it from, and they were like, oh, so you stole it. I said, no, I didn't. I reposted it. And they're all like, and then there was the name calling, and that is definitely a trigger for me. Mm-hmm. Name calling, obscene name calling is really a trigger for me. Let me tell you what's even worse, when ratchet people do it. People who, when I look on your page, I go, oh, so you're doing this from the library because you don't got the internet at your house.
I gotta go. All right, and that concludes.
Oh, so you doing this?
Oh,
okay. So let me tell you what you're not gonna do, and then that's when I realized that old girl didn't have any more tacos and no more cookies, and she was at the door like,
so we not gonna talk about it?
You want me to come out? And I was like, oh, but it's on social media and it's gonna be here forever.
Right.
I was like, nah. Just be the mature person and block them. So that's what I did, and it was a slight back and forth. Like, no, I'm just clarifying so that you understand. So why haven't you deleted yet? Who are you talking to? As soon as I type who you talking to, I said, I know what's coming after that. Who you talking to?
Right.
Because now I'm sitting on the porch with the bat and the tobacco in my pocket and the wine cooler. And I got my hair in a bun. You know?
Right.
I don't need that. I don't need this. So that was quite interesting. Yeah. I did enjoy myself. And the world is terrible.
Yes. Very.
Trash. Very. Had a mass shooting. Oh. I just want you to know that whoever you think it did the mass shooting, that's exactly who did it. Because that's usually who does mass shootings, just so you know. Whoever you thinking is exactly who did it. Because that's what they do. And that's what I got to say about that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Terrible.
There was more than one too.
Oh,
That was the best part. That you're so one wasn't enough,
no.
and nobody was referred to as a terrorist. But if there were
Not-
three bombings in the same,
Not
never mind.
one.
Never mind.
The verbiage didn't exist.
No. Keep that same energy, people. No? Oh, okay. Cool. I just know when y'all start sending us back to Africa, you gonna send all of us. You gonna send Oprah. You gonna send everybody who play on Golden State. You gonna send Jay-Z and Beyonce. You gonna send Chance the Rapper. You gonna send all the people that you think you gonna get to keep here with their money.
Nope.
Nah, fam. They going to. You think Wakanda is a movie in a movie? Nah. We about to do that for real. Yeah, I'm just telling you. When you start feeling like you got some go for that.
Well, as we were talking about before, you about don't have to send me. Like,
Listen, I'm about to start looking for property. Keep it up. How much is this hut? Okay.
For real.
Side note, they have houses. When I said hut, I was being funny. I'm aware that they have real houses. Because I don't need nobody coming for me.
Right. Exactly.
Somebody gonna come for me.
Yeah.
Africa has houses. I know they do. I was
Right.
being funny. But, girl, just terrible. Like, I just hate everybody again.
No.
And I don't like using the word hate.
Right.
But I can't think of a stronger, tactful word.
I just hate where we are, and I hate that it's we're put in positions that we have to pretty much just accept that this is supposed to be some type of normalcy about.
Yeah, this just Thursday.
Yeah, like that's what's unsettling. Like, and then it's another news story. Like then we just move past, and then we just waiting.
In other news,
right? And then we're just waiting to see the next time we. No, that's okay.
It's so disheartening, and it's so. Oh, we are in a terrible state. Like, it's a lot, and I just don't like y'all. And this is why I'm working on not telling people shut up, and I'm telling them close your mouth, because I just want to tell everybody to shut up all the time. And yeah, that part. So that's what's been going on. I feel like, with all that's going on, a lot of people who need to be coming closer to whoever they're with, kind of like you were dealing with your fiance. We're not gonna talk about me, y'all. That don't need to happen on this episode, but
Not this one.
just know there has been
Things have happened.
developments. Okay. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys posted when we figure it out. People need to be coming closer to the person that they're with, and there needs to be more unity when it comes to that, because if we're hoping that it happens in the world,
Right.
it's real shaky. So I feel like, we need to be working on becoming closer to the people that we with. And then I had a conversation with this guy that I work with, because he's a new husband, and we were talking about men and women in relationships, and he was telling me about his wife and what the new stuff that they have going on in their marriage. And I was talking to him about, how different men and women are in marriages and relationships, period, and how we aren't being trained up or developing a sense of understanding for the other sex. And I feel like that is a large problem when it comes to the family unit. And I think that because everybody feels a lot of ownership to another person, that the ownership is what's causing a lot of confusion. Like we were talking earlier about the submissive part, and people constantly bring up about women need to be submissive, but they didn't keep reading that same scripture, because right after that it says that men need to submit to their wife. We'll never talk about that though. Like that don't come up. I don't know how y'all missed it. It's literally the next sentence.
Like two comes after one.
Right after it. It's literally right afterwards. And then you have this lack of understanding, lack of ownership. And then I was telling you how I think it's so interesting that there are so many seminars about how women need to make themselves ready for their
Prepared.
husbands. You need to get your mind and yourself together. But nobody's having this conversation with men. And a lot of times, even when it comes to little boys, they're taught to be the head of the house, to be the lead, to financially be stable, to take care of her, to be able to take care of whoever that they're with. But on a, support her, meaning financially or even physically, be able to support her, you know what I'm saying, hold her up, but not emotionally.
Right.
And I think that a lot of confusion comes in with that, and when that confusion comes up, people don't know how to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And while you don't know how to talk to the person that you with, that is when people start to shut down, and people have constant confusion, and your language in your relationship decides where y'all gonna go, because you ain't gonna get to talk to me kind of way you want to.
Well, I think it's because we carry so many preconceived ideals of what relationships should look like before you're actually in relationship with the person you're with. And I think we walk around with ideals of, when I get my boo, this is what we gonna do, this how it's gonna be, this is what it's gonna look like. And then you have this person and you're
It's a lie.
and then, it doesn't come together as smoothly as you told yourself it was going to. And I think that creates a boatload of expectations and resentment, because a lot of people then start feeling like, well, I'm giving you a pass that I'm not getting X, Y, and Z from you, or these types of things. And some of those things that come with it, I think is people associate this ideal that individuality is lost when you have relationship, and people are just supposed to do things.
Right.
This is just supposed to work this way.
Yes.
You are just supposed to. And I think that's one of the biggest lies we walk around thinking about relationship, that there's just this entitlement
and ownership.
Mm-hmm. And so we start taking stuff personal that I don't think ever is supposed to be, because like for me and my fiance, for just what we share and responsibility, there's a lot of times when we're talking to each other, I don't remember, it wasn't long ago, but it was a point in time where he was like, hey babe, would it be okay if and I remember hearing it and I was thinking like, why are you saying, like, I don't have that authority to tell you
right.
what you not gonna do. But then we had a follow-up conversation, and I know I said, like, I take that as courtesy. I'm appreciative of it. I'm appreciative, and that is what we say, that's words, because I've done the same. Hey, would it be okay if I because there are factors for us to consider, but I consider that language courtesy, not entitlement. Not that he has to ask me, because what I came back and told him was, if you didn't do that and you came back and informed me on the back end, it would still technically be courteous.
Correct.
If you went and said, hey, I just stopped over here real quick, and then basically, hey, instead of saying, hey, would it be okay if I stop by the store real quick? I want to see if they had this before I headed home. And that's what you were saying. If you had gone to the store and said, hey, babe, I just stopped at the store real quick,
mm-hmm.
and I'm going to be home. They're both courteous.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? But I think we associate expectations to what somebody else is supposed to be doing.
I think the issue is that a lot of people don't know how to decipher what they feel it should be a courtesy, and when they feel like a person needs to have a more informative conversation. I
Mm.
think a lot of people feel that when they're in a relationship, the other person is obligated to
Yeah.
have that conversation. I was in a relationship where if I was on my way home and I decided to stop one of my friends' house, I'd be like, hey, I'm stopping over such and such house. I'm going over Kim's house, or I'm going over Trina's house, whoever's house I'm going to. And then I would say, I'll let you know when I'm on my way home. And that's not me asking for permission.
Right. That's informing.
I'm informing you. I'm telling you this is what I'm about to do, and I'll let you know when I'm done doing whatever I'm doing.
I think informing is courteous too.
Absolutely.
And I think it gets.
I think people lose the difference though, because I feel like I think people don't equate what the conversation is. Meaning, I'm stopping by my friend's house. It's not a conversation where I'm getting, I'm air quoting, permission.
Right.
But I think when a person decides that if you guys are, I don't know, if you're a family unit and you have kids and you've decided that you want to go to Cancun with your girls, and then on Wednesday night you packing, and because Thursday you leaving, and you packing, and your guy look at you and he's like, "What you doing?" And it was like, "Oh, I'm packing to go to Cancun." Didn't I tell you? First of all, what you mean? Did you tell me? We haven't talked about this.
Where the H are you going?
Who the? And I think that people confuse, when you need to have communication with the person, and even in that instance, it's not really an obligation to say, "Hey, babe, are you okay if I go to Cancun with my girls?" That's a courtesy.
Yeah.
And it's greatly respected and appreciated. Like, thank you for coming to me. Now, you don't have to. You do have to deal with the repercussions that come after that if you don't have that conversation. But you also don't get to decide, because the words, the verbiage didn't look exactly how you wanted to look, that it wasn't me extending that courtesy to you. Because some people believe just because I didn't come to you and say, "Hey, my friends asked me," because now I'm 12. "Hey, my friends asked me if we could go on a trip. Can I go on a trip?"
Right.
Because I don't got to ask you for permission.
Right.
Or my friends asked me for a guys' night out, or my girls told me that they wanted, to have ladies' night here.
Right.
That, I think a lot of people don't understand that in a relationship, that courtesy is a respect factor.
Right.
Depending on how much respect you have for your mate, it comes second nature.
Right.
Now, I will say this though. I was in a relationship where I was giving that courtesy. I gave that level of respect, but I never received it. And when I brought it to my ex's attention, he pretty much told me, like, "I'm a grown man. I don't have to tell you what I'm doing." And I said, "Bet." Side note, bet is not a good thing. I keep telling y'all. Cool, no worries.
Right.
I got it. So then I stopped. And I'd be gone. I'd go to the store, come back, and he'd be like, "Why you didn't tell me you was going to the store? We need such and such." I was like, "Oh, you know what? Didn't even cross my mind." I go to my friend's house. I'll be at her house talking and keying and drinking water, because I don't drink, but my friends would be drinking wine or whatever. And then I leave her house 11:30 at night, come home. "Where you been?" "Oh, I was at such and such house." "Why you didn't tell me you was over there?" I'm a grown woman. Look, that conversation has to be one of the funniest conversations I've ever had with an ex, because he went into this whole soliloquy and he started having a temper tantrum about how I was doing tit for tat, definitely was, and how that was disrespectful, that he was worried about me. Side note, y'all, he never texted or never called to see where I was at. He just waited to have this conversation, which I thought was quite interesting. And I was like, you know what's so funny? When you be out and I don't hear from you, I be feeling the same thing.
Right.
Oh my God. Now, I would definitely handle that differently now. I was much younger at the time. But I think the problem is the communication that flows between people. It's like, bruh, You not checking in. You
Right.
extending me a courtesy. You
Right.
giving me the same respect that I'm giving you. When you're in a relationship with a person, you extend each other a certain level of respect and grace. And those two things a lot of times are missing in relationships, and that's why they're so tumultuous. Like there's so much turbulence in your relationship because people forget to extend grace and people forget to extend courtesies.
So like for game systems, because I'm a like analogy person. Like
You definitely are.
you can't put a Nintendo cartridge
In the
in a
Sega Genesis.
exactly right. But
I just want y'all to know how old I am.
but I feel like people think because this syncs up, we're in a relationship, that everything automatically like transfers over and data and understanding, and it just like links up like, wow, we decided to be in a relationship. Cool. Cartridge in, turn power on the system. Let's go, right?
Right.
Like there's not anything else you need to do. I think we don't do a good job as people of extending the understanding we want before having our hand out to receive it.
Correct.
I think we look for it and then kind of come on the back end and say, okay, well, since you gave it, I can give it. Versus extending it because it's protocol to us. It's what we believe in. It's how we think it should go.
Yes.
And not for what we're going to get back. I don't think we do a good job of that all the time. So for me, what I know is a lot of times what would be a gripe for me would depend on what was a gripe for you.
Right.
So if you're making a big deal out of something that maybe I don't see as a big deal, well,
Yes.
now my sensories are on alarm because, well, is this a big deal? So now I'm looking like,
Right.
well, now I'm paying attention to stuff that I wouldn't have paid attention to. So in the flip, I've made it a point that I used to kind of be bothered about like, you would tell me you made it to work.
Yes.
You if I don't, okay, I take that something happened, but I'm always appreciative if I get those courtesy follow-ups to say, hey, I was busy, that's why I didn't tell you, or those type of things. I appreciate that. But then I started to say, like, well, you know what? I know that there are going to be moments like I'm going to stop at Walgreens and I'm not probably going to send you a message to say I'm stopping at Walgreens.
Right.
I have to hold that in account when I'm making an issue out of certain things. I don't think all of us are that accountable because what we start doing is we start sizing up that my thing is different than yours. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So,
you definitely put weight on somebody else's
Yeah.
stuff a little different than yours. So that's like 2 pounds, but yours is like 20.
and it's kind of the same thing. Like the other day I was talking to him and he was like, are we doing this right now? I was like, no, it's not. It's an example. It's not a big deal.
Right.
But it's kind of like, if you're new, I don't know what episode that was. It was that New Year's one we did.
Mm-hmm.
When my fiance cheated on me, I had to go and take a reflection of the ways I had been treating him.
Mm-hmm.
And not being able to honestly measure that the things that I was doing wasn't taking a huge toll and impact on why things looked the way they did between us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in moving forward, it's equipped us with certain tools, and definitely for myself, that I have to be conscious to not do that because it's kind of something you get that's not really. It's a society thing. It's not
for sure.
Yeah, it's not something that I developed, but you kind of get taught that. Yeah, well, I didn't do that, so that's a problem. So even when it comes to permission, I think we do that idea. It's like, well, no, you need to tell me about that. You need to have a conversation with who you're with to make sure you're on the same page of what that holds weight to, because it might hold weight to you,
Right.
that it doesn't to them, and now you're offended by something that they're really not trying to be rude or hurtful to you about.
I think I had a conversation with this guy that I work with, and I was talking to him about how people are raised, and there's some people who raised in super affectionate homes, and there are some people who are not, and there are some people who are raised by a family that says I love you all the time, but they don't really hug or touch, but they'll say I love you, and sometimes you are raised in a house that doesn't do either. You don't know that you're missing out on anything. You don't realize that it's different than what else is happening in the other world until you get older and come in contact with. Let me tell you something. When I was little, my mother would not buy sugar cereal. I did not know other cereals weren't like the one that I was eating.
What would you eat? Raisin Bran?
No. My favorite cereal is shredded wheat.
Wow.
Because when I grew up, we only ate 3 types of cereal. Shredded wheat, Cheerios, and Kix. That's it. I've never had a cavity though. Shout out to that. But I didn't know what Fruit Loops tasted like. I didn't know what Sugar Smacks taste like.
Oh, I never had any of those. That's what's funny about that, because I would only get those when we would go on family reunions and they were in the hotel else's, and they had the little box. Ooh, I would be like, hey,
put it in a bag. That one's mine. But when I started going to sleepovers over to other people's houses,
right,
and I'm looking for the cereal that I ate, and they're like, this is what we have, and I don't know, so I just pick a box and I'm eating it, and I'm like, this don't taste like the cereal I'm used to tasting. You know what I'm saying? Like Fruit Loops look like a Cheerio. It's like a bigger Cheerio, but they're colored. So to me, I'm like, this must be as close to a Cheerio. I'm little.
Right.
I don't know. And the first time I had a cereal that was a sugar cereal, I was like, wait a minute.
I've been duped.
Bamboozled. Led astray. But I had already created the taste for the cereals that I had been eating. So sugar cereals were way too sweet for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't enjoy them as much as other people did because I didn't grow up on it. How you grow up and what you're around molds you.
Yeah.
So if you're not around a person who received a lot of words of affirmation, if you aren't around a person who had a lot of touching and hugging in their family, if you're not around if you're around a person who did, because that's weird when you with a person who's super touchy and you're like, let me tell you, when I was younger and I saw people being super touchy to their family, I was like, so this is weird. And you think that it makes you uncomfortable that it's happening.
Right.
And then they're super comfortable. Like, my dad would always hug. My dad would always give me kisses on my forehead, kisses on my cheek. Like, I would run up to my daddy and jump in his arms. And, that was normal for me. And there were some people whose fathers worked a lot or had a very distant demeanor to their kids and or their daughters for that matter, and wasn't as loving as my dad. So of course when they would see me with my dad all the time, they was like, why you always be on your daddy like that? And I'm like, because first of all, he's a superhero. And,
right.
And have you met my daddy? He's amazing. Now,
and lastly, mind your business.
All of it.
Okay.
But I told y'all I didn't have an amazing relationship with my mom. So when I would see my female friends going shopping with their moms,
right,
or saying me and my mom sat up and watched TV and did each other's nails, I was like, that's what mommies do? Because in my mind, that's not what mommies did, but this is what daddies did.
Right.
So how you grow up molds how you are as a person. And people a lot of times take offense to another person not knowing how to love them, how they want to be loved, simply because that's not how they grew up.
One of the things I'm like, I loathe, and through this process and relationship, I mean, they're literally layers of things that I have to strip myself of what I thought before. Like, and it pops up, and I'll be like, yeah, that doesn't apply here.
Right. Right.
So there's so many things that I recognize in language that we will say that's not how that's supposed to be, and we really have no reference to why it's not supposed to be that.
Right.
That's it. It's just a blanket statement. I shouldn't have to explain myself to someone who loves me. Why? Like it's just a blanket theory. Okay, because I've heard it.
You should already know. I've heard we've been together for 6 years. You don't know?
So listen, I saw a status. I think that was last year. I don't know if we talked about it on here. But this girl said, I've been with him for 7 years. It is super annoying. Why do you keep asking me what I want to do on my birthday? Like you don't know at this point. And I was thinking like, there's no positive there. You don't see the curse that he
even asked you.
That he even
because that could have been a Thursday, just a regular Thursday. Because some of us is out here, we ain't getting asked what we gonna do on our birthday.
Getting asked, ma'am. Are you serious?
How about y'all been together 7 years? Let's talk about that. 7 years.
Let's talk about it. And then I was like, is he crazy to not think you may have wanted to do something different in 7 years?
Because he crazy to think that you wasn't scrolling on Facebook and Instagram and saw a hot air balloon and was like, fam, I want to do that. Because
he might know. He just might be like, maybe he wants to check the list twice. Make sure it's something he not missing.
Let me tell you what just popped in my head. The fact that over 7 years, you've wanted to do the exact same thing. Where's your growth? What are you doing?
So that's what I'm saying. And then that's what I'm saying when it comes to these, it should be this way. Because I think permission becomes something that gets equated in what you should do.
Absolutely.
And how many people are really having a conversation of those type of zones of like, okay, because check it out. When you're dating, you're not...
Check it out.
When you're dating, you're so grateful in a dating stage.
Correct.
You're so grateful for what you get.
You so grateful and gracious.
Oh my God, you get that message. You're like, oh, your text,
hey. Whenever you get,
you're not like,
when he asks you a question, you like, no, it doesn't matter. It's okay. No,
everything.
No, whichever one. No, it's okay. Oh, there's so much grace, and you are so humble,
right?
And the appreciation is oozing. Like, he called you and was like, I just wanted to see how your day was. And you like, oh, it was good. Ooh, 7 years later, it's like, you know how my day is. I told you yesterday that I was going to be stupid
No,
today
then it's like, why haven't I heard from you?
Hey, side note, that was me.
But that's what I'm saying. Then we get into that because part of that may be due to your desires, but part of that is an association that you should want to talk to me a certain way because of what we are.
Hey, I literally felt like, how could you go 5 hours not talking to me?
And I hear
because in my mind,
mm-hmm.
I didn't go 5 hours not wanting to talk to you.
Absolutely.
And then I realized it's because I didn't have enough business. Get you some business.
But let me tell you what ends up happening in those situations. Every situation that I've been in where I've been a nag or had a gripe that they didn't, I found myself in that position that they, maybe not as often, but then I got real busy one day. Mm-hmm. And they were looking like, So, what's up?
Been 4.27 hours.
And then what do you immediately want to do? You want to immediately go into, but I don't do that all the time. See, no.
You definitely want to change the dialogue. You don't want to wear that hat. And listen, that's how I used to be. Now, I literally don't want to talk all day. Like, I don't want to talk every day. Ain't that terrible? Like, and I know it's because I've been in this space of single for so long that I'm so used to not being committed to anyone, not being, not having to extend that grace or that courtesy to somebody because, we're in this relationship and we need to have constant contact with each other. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. But whatever that theory was that I had before, I literally, like, if I don't talk to you for days, I don't care. And I know I'm not in a committed relationship right now, but that was never a thing for me when it came to relationships or friendships. I used to be like that with my friends. I was like, so we ain't talked in 4 days. You ain't thought about me? Mm-hmm. And I don't know why I equated care with constant contact, because it's people you talk to every day and they lie to you every time you talk to them, and that doesn't mean anything. And in my mind, I felt like people were obligated, to have contact with me.
You equate desire to
Mm-hmm.
that contact kind of becomes an action that you can equate to desire. So if you're reaching out, you must desire to want to communicate with me.
Correct.
And so it becomes tangible, but you forget that it's not always going to be tangible illustrations of care and love all the time.
And that doesn't you can't measure someone's love by contact.
And you can't rob them and take it away that they don't have it because they aren't.
Because I'm taking all of it. Right. I'm clearing the table.
Clearly, if you can't do that, you must not have anything.
You don't care about me. You don't think about me. If you don't think about me, then you don't love me. And if you don't love me, why are we here?
Yes. And it becomes this whole rabbit hole in your head that you will go down. And I think that's what that's what we forget. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say, I'm going to hold a little more accountability to women because I see women doing it a lot. Mm-hmm. But I know men do too. What men usually do, because men will not vocalize those things. Like, a lot of times, most men will see things that they'll be like, oh, she said nothing to me, all right. And they'll keep going until you start trying to get in your bag. And then they're like,
oh, because he'll bring it up. Oh!
And they're like, that's what we're doing?
You want to do that? Look. What? Somebody come look at this. Somebody come look at this. and then I'm like, you are so, why are you?
We weren't even doing all of that. We were just talking about
we were just talking, and here you go. Oh, no.
And it's like, come on, bring that energy back.
Keep it. Keep that same energy.
And what needs to be thought of, not male versus women, just as people, you have to be conscious, I think, of what you're asking someone for. Can I show up the way I'm asking someone else to show up for me?
Correct.
And I think when it comes to the idea of asking, because what I know, like, I've never been in this position now with, like, sharing household responsibilities with someone, and it's different. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of more reasons for us to need to be courteous, and considerate of each other, that I've never been in before. But I still don't feel like I get to rob this man that he gotta ask me to go to a store. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I don't think I get to rob him of that individuality because we're here.
Yeah.
Because I would have never asked that at any point in time. I wouldn't have asked that in a dating phase, pre-engaged. You know, like, that was never on the table. So this status hasn't changed, that he has the right to make decisions for himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes. He has the right to say, I do want to be considered. I would like the courtesy of knowing, you know, and being informed of what's going on. But I also, on the back end, have to be grateful for it.
Yes.
Because then you'll miss the ways that he is showing up because you're not grateful and you're just equating that you're supposed to. That's not true.
Right.
And then now I'm creating tension and beating you up and making him feel caged and, you know, confined because he feels like I'm his gatekeeper of sorts.
And on top of being the gatekeeper, you feel like a child.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody should have to ask permission to go to the store. You shouldn't have to ask permission to go to your friend's house. You shouldn't have to ask permission for just regular life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now, I do know that when you start bringing trips into the equation and you start, I don't know, quitting your job, right, or, you know what I'm saying?
That is going to affect my day-to-day. Your decision is going to affect.
And maybe sometimes it's not even my day-to-day. Maybe it'll affect our kids day to day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or maybe it'll affect the income,
Right.
but my day to day stays the same. But you know what I'm saying? Now I'm carrying the house, whatever the case may be. I don't know, but that's when the dialogue does shift a little bit. I don't feel at no point are you still asking for permission. I feel
Right.
at that point we're having conversations and we're deciding what's best for us, but you still not asking me for permission because I'm not asking you for permission. Like
Right.
what
Well,
what does asking for permission like mean to a person? Like I gave you the stamp of approval and the okay?
no, I think it does the I matter. And you came to me to ask, and it's a validation thing. And that kind of gets a little scary because you don't need someone to validate your importance, because that kind of triggers into certain levels of insecurity that can get hard to meet if I'm always equating how you make decisions and how that means I matter to you. That like that can get real dangerous, I think.
Yeah.
If that's what it happened. I think it's why some situations become really hostile and we don't know how to pour into each other and talk, and because we have just habits that we're used to. We're used to handling stuff a certain way. We're used to not having to have certain conversations. We're
Correct.
used to not having to do it a certain way. And when it comes to the table, we be like, you know what? Flip the table over. I'm not doing it.
Or jump on that boy and kick a hole in the computer.
I don't want to do any of it. But I think we have to allow the people that we interact with to still have a certain level of individuality. One thing my mom would always say when my dad was sick, and she was being a home and different caretakers would come in and they would ask like how long they were married. I remember this day where they thought he was gonna go, and we were there waiting around like all day, and it was a chaplain there, and they were asking her like what advice does she have for being married that long, or what would you say? And she said to not try to change that person because then you'll lose the things that why you came to the table.
Absolutely.
So if you start saying you needed to do it this way and that way and that, and of course we're saying that because we're triggered by the feelings of where we're hurt, but you might be missing who you're with, you know, and forgetting to highlight where they are hitting it out the park and what they are getting right.
Absolutely.
And because we're in that feeling of feeling so, not considered or disregarded or whatever those things trigger, that you're missing like, wait, let's put this in perspective here.
Yeah.
Let me step back and size this up. And so I had to kind of tell him when we had that conversation, like, I am kind of proud of us for the way we handled that. And we do that. Like, that's never been a discussion. We just kind of talk about it. But when we went to that, the conference last year, I think though there are things that sometimes we don't want. You can't take personal the desires. Like even for trips or job changes, I think we're having a conversation. But I think if you're on the end of feeling like I don't want you to do this thing, or I think you need to come to me, or you're offended that they want to do this thing and you're taking that personal, then you have to be prepared to receive that on the back end.
For sure.
Like you have to be prepared. You don't get to say, okay, well, I don't think you should go on this trip. And then if he says, okay, I think you should do this with me and not go over your family's house, you don't be like, oh, that's different.
No, you keep that same energy.
It's permission.
It's permission. If we asking for permission up in here, we asking for permission.
You don't get to zone it into the categories.
Group it the way you want it, so that it looks the way you want it to look. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people do that because it makes them feel better. People want to win. Period. So when we're having this conversation, I want to win. And what you don't realize is that any relationship, in any situation, if you are with this person, whether it's a friendship, a family, or a relationship, when you're having a conversation with a person, if they're not your enemy, you're not trying to win.
Right.
And everybody's trying to win. And that's not what we're doing.
Right.
I'm not trying to win. I'm trying to either understand, or I'm trying to get you to understand, or I'm trying to get us to a common ground that we can appreciate and not have resentment for the other person where you felt like, fine, okay, fine, then you just do it. You fine, you just do it. And it's like, no, that's not what I wanted.
That's not where we at.
That's not what I wanted this to be.
Well, another thing I think, because that's a lesson I'm learning with myself of kind of what the idea of being okay is, that sometimes I spent so much time in the past not wanting to feel certain things that I equated the presence of nervousness or doubt or uncertainty or confusion. I equated the presence of those things as I'm not okay.
Right.
This is not okay.
Right.
And so then it just would throw me into a state of just trying to get away from that feeling.
Right.
I think couples a lot of times especially think we have to agree.
Absolutely.
So if I don't like that you're doing this thing and you that we kind of, that idea of one of us trying to win, we think that it has to narrow into this streamline that it's going this way, that we both sit on the side feeling the same way about.
Right.
And that's not always going to be the case. It's very well that we have to kind of let go. That's why, the Bible always preach of forgiveness and being quick to forgive. We have to kind of get on top of learning our lessons of where we need to let go and learn those valuable lessons in real time, not always in reflection, where we can say, you know what? I don't like the way you did this. I understand. I do understand you moving forward. This is how I would like this to be handled.
I would appreciate it if we did this.
Handle it this way. Instead of, because like you said in the beginning, like, I think we just are unconscious to how we talk to each other and treat each other.
But I think it has a lot to do with the way you talk to yourself. So if you talking to yourself raggedy with trash, then that conversation is going to spill over to how you talk to other people. So if you talk to people with vigor and venom, you 9 times out of 10 talk to yourself like that, because you practicing that type of conversation on a regular basis, and you get real good at it. And then when you look at somebody else, it's nothing to give them that venom. It's nothing to give them all that zest and that spice. And then when you get it back from them, it sounds different when it's not coming from you.
Right.
When somebody says the exact same thing that you, like, you know how people be like, no, I mean, I'm not really cute today. And if somebody said to you, yeah, no, you're not really cute today, you're going to be like, wait, what?
What?
But
you just said the same thing.
It sounds different coming out of somebody else's mouth. But you so comfortable talking to other people and talking to yourself like that. If you talk to yourself better, you will talk to other people better.
Absolutely. I believe that.
And that's what I've been working on, actually. I literally say it all the time, like, I take certain things out of my vocabulary, because if I take it out of my vocabulary, period, it won't be in my vocabulary when I'm talking to myself, and it won't be in my vocabulary when I'm talking to anybody else.
Well, changing how I deal with myself is like made me put on glasses to recognize how terrible as humanity that it's a bad habit that we're all walking around just not really being cognitive and conscious of the imprint that makes on your verbiage and how comfortable you are with being pessimistic and just the way you respond to things, or what energy you give when you hear certain things, and the autopilot pilots you to respond a certain way. We do that as normal, and think it's isolated and it has nothing to do, and not realizing that it becomes easy to spill into other things and it bleeds through
Yep.
to other things, and we don't see it that way. Because of that, I see it, and I think we've had that conversation when I've been going through things to experience conflict with people, because I forgot how you said it to me. You're like, you can see it different because you've been working on that, and
Absolutely.
because so you're like, no, this doesn't need to be here.
Right.
But that other person may not be at that space
Because they're still working through it. You've already gone to the other side of the tunnel. But walking through the tunnel, you know, like on those movies that they like is a booby trap room. And you know if you stay on the wall on the left, you're good.
Right.
But as soon as you step over to the right, everything is going to go haywire, and you see people walking through the room and you're like, no, stay to the left. No, don't touch that. Stay to the left. Keep your hands in your pocket. And you like, God,
if you just stay to the left.
And then you realize the only reason why you know that is because you've gone through it.
Right.
But when you was walking through it, you was touching everything. He was hopscotching. You was all over the place. Like on the Golden Child. Remember when he was going through there trying to get that glass of water and he's touching everything? I bet you he can figure it out now, but that's because he didn't went through it.
Right.
It's different. It's different. So if you had any gems, what would they be?
You can't ask or expect anything from anyone that you can't give yourself. And that isn't finalized to what the specific subject is. Meaning, if I'm asking you to kiss me goodnight every night, I can say that because I'm willing to do that. That's not what that means. That means if you can ask for a kiss goodnight and expect that to happen, and the other person asks for their foot to be rubbed every night, you are willing to show up for what they ask. It's not about, and I think sometimes our views are skewed, and I think when you start thinking that someone owes you something to show up for you a certain way, you have to know, are you prepared to show up for what they ask too? It's not about if they're asking for the same thing, I'll show up for that thing. Can this person come to me, say they have a need, and I'm going to make my effort to show up for them
the same way I want them to make
the same way I want them? Because a lot of times I think even people take offense to if someone needs to think about it, and they're like, why do you have to think about it? It's me, you should just do it. Y'all, she making a face. Y'all know I've been saying I made a face. She made a face. But
hey, yo, I can't even tell you what just about him. We'll talk about it later.
But that happens, you know what I'm saying? Because people think that way.
Yes.
And because of that, no, I wanted to bring this up, talking about it. I remember on the radio, and me and my fiance had the discussion about it later. It was talking about a man who had his kid's mom name tattooed on him, and the person he was with wanted him to get it removed.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And he was like, well, she's always going to be my kid's mom. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if my kids have seen this, why do I have to get it removed? Because, yeah. And her feeling like that's an association to him maybe wanting to keep that door open and all those things, everything I get. And I remember my fiance initially was like, that's crazy. What? No. Yeah. She crazy. She crazy if she stay with him. He should do this. And I said, well, here's the thing. If she can ask him to get it removed, she better be prepared if he asks her to go get it.
Get one. A Steve's. With an S, as in ownership, sir.
Right. And to the common ear, that's different, but it's not.
He can't ask her to get a tattoo.
He could never. It would never be.
That's what they would say. He can't ask her to get a tattoo. Oh, but he can.
And you're like,
Cause we
no, it
here.
makes
Cause we here
sense.
now.
Right. And that, I don't think we think about that. And then the other part, the second thing would be to give understanding, because a lot of times when we're offended or we think someone was supposed to do something a certain way, or you, if you're on the end and you feel like you should have asked me, you should have done it this certain way, I think you need to evaluate who you're talking to, and you need to evaluate the things you know, because a lot of times those feelings of what you feel you're entitled to will cloud how you're processing the whole situation.
Absolutely.
And it takes precedence over a lot of other facts that are on the table too.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that person maybe didn't handle it better, but then you end up in conflict about your feelings instead of articulating your needs.
Correct.
Hey, I need this to be handled. And I think it becomes unfair when it's isolated per circumstance instead of a standard of what you need.
Yes.
And knowing yourself and being in tune with yourself to say, okay, I would like us to handle stuff this way. Because that's a different conversation. And I think you can talk through that without being so hot and angry and entitled and mad and, frustrated. I think you need to pause and get out of the feelings that are associated with the offense and understand and give understanding when you're looking to be understood too.
Yeah, that's key. Giving understanding. You want all of the understanding and the grace, but you don't want to give none of that.
Because most of the time you're like, this is why you should have done it. And you're not hearing anything that's being said on the other end of why, where their mind was.
Right. I think I only got one because I feel like I agree with everything that you said, so I don't want to repeat it. But the one thing that I would have as my gem is basically you don't own anybody. When you're in a relationship, there is no ownership. He doesn't own you and you don't own him. She isn't property and he isn't property. These are individuals. They have their own mind, they have their own heart, they have their own feelings about things, and you need to be able to comprehend that nobody is obligated to anything. It is what we you put an expectation on what you perceive a person should be doing, and you forget that sometimes because of how they grew up or even what you didn't establish in the beginning of your relationship has already set a tone and has created a path that you guys are on, and then now you want to incorporate something different and you want that person to make a hard left. And ownership doesn't exist, obligation doesn't exist, and you don't get to put that onto somebody as if it is fact. That's just how you feel about it. And hopefully you're with a person who cares enough about you and understand what it is that you're saying, as long as it isn't too crazy. Because some of y'all got crazy stuff like it's just ridiculous. And the crazy stuff I'm talking about is the stuff that spills over into the obligated pool.
Right.
But as long as you're asking for something that I would consider a courtesy, I don't feel like there's anything that you would have to worry about. It's when you start trying to own a person and when you start putting obligations on them and unrealistic expectations that you start to have a problem. But you don't get to demand things from people because this is how you think it should be, or this is because what you're saying is your opinion. It's not a fact. And if the person cares about you, they'll definitely do it. But your delivery plays a part. How you plan on doing things. Don't ask somebody for something you ain't gonna do.
Right.
And nobody is obligated to do any of those things. Just, allow people to be human. And we lose that all the time. The ability to allow people to be human.
Yeah.
And I would just say you don't own anybody. They're not your property. You be easy. Get it together. And I think things will probably go way better. That's it.
think that's it.
You got it? All right, y'all. It's a wrap. Have a good one.
Bye.